Okay, folks, so I just wanted to go over this real fast. If you didn't notice, back in June, there's so much going on, so I'll just fill you in. Back in June, okay, this is a little older, but it's very, 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 very relevant, is ActBlue is a non-government organization, a charitable organization. I don't know if that's nonprofit. I don't know. I think so. I think that's what they say. But they are strictly a thing set up for charitable donations for democratic causes, for the Democrats essentially, and progressives, not the Republicans. So they're very big, and they do a ton of work for them. But James O'Keefe did a deep dive back in June, some undercover reporting that many of the charitable donations that were being made to ActBlue were from retirees, very, very old people, and people who essentially, a lot of people who really weren't the Democrat voting base. And he found out that many of the donations were being made in their names from like unnamed donors or something like that, but using their names. I'm still wrapping my head around it, but they actually found out that many of these donations were coming from like Iran and China. And in fact, about 60% of the donations coming through Act Now for Democratic causes and the progressives and to the Democrat Party themselves for campaigns were coming from China. So who would that be? The CCP, of course. So let's see what ActBlue says. Just to make sure we have this right, this is from their site. Is ActBlue run by the Democratic Party or affiliated with any organizations? ActBlue is not run by the official Democratic Party or any other organization. We are a mission-based organization, which is why only Democrats and progressive organizations, not Republicans, can use our tools to fundraise. We are an independent nonprofit with an executive board. And so, like, the opposite of this would be the Win Red, which is they're set up as a non-profit organization that contributes to Republicans or conservative causes, stuff like that. So ActBlue just kind of says who they are here, and they make that clear. But apparently they've been involved in some nasty money laundering and fraud. So let's go ahead and watch what James O'Keefe has to say, because he's the one who kind of did some undercover stuff, and he can explain this, of course, probably better than I can. So let's hit it.
Hello everyone, James O'Keefe here. We have an update into the FEC investigation into money apparently laundered from various addresses through ActBlue. Election Watch will be filing a complaint with the FEC in D.C. over the discrepancies and apparent fraud that has taken place with all these donations, many of which are done through the home addresses of the elderly. Election Watch will file the complaint with the FEC, wait the required 120 days, and then file a lawsuit in the Northern District of Virginia. Now, included in that lawsuit will be evidence that over 60% of the money involved in this is apparently coming from China. ActBlue is feeding a lot of money to other PACs like Emily's List, Color of Change PAC, just to name a few. Much of this information, through Election Watch, came from internet tracing, internet traffic patterns, looking at where the transactions are coming from and where they're going to. Based upon these traffic flow patterns, you can actually see what's happening. There's also receipts of large amount of monies on the FEC website to financial processors like Amalgamated Bank, particularly the Washington, D.C. branch of Amalgamated Bank, one of the institutions making many of these transactions. Dibby is also named. They're a debit card processor out of Utah. There's large amounts of money going through that. Much of this will be included in the lawsuit. But many questions remain unanswered. We hope that this army of citizen journalists watching through OMG will find those answers. Stay tuned.
Okay, let's just see if there's something, anything more on this, because he did have some follow-ups, and that's kind of a trailer for his thing. So he did do a thing where he just went up, and it's not that exciting, but he went up to many of these addresses that were listed. The donors had listed them as their addresses, and he went up to their homes. Most of them were elderly, retired people, and they said, "Do you know your address is being used for donations to ActBlue?" And they'd be like, "What?" And some of them were like, I don't even donate to a Democrats. I'm not a Democrat. Or some people would say, well, I donated to the Democrats once. But then there's multiple donations being made in their name, like on a daily basis or a weekly basis or even a monthly basis. But as James O'Keefe identified here, about 60% of those donations were tracked, and they're actually coming from China. So talk about election interference, it's right here. And I know people talk about election interference a lot, but as we can see from evidence now, the election interference for the 2020 election was on a scale I don't think the country's ever seen before. It was on such an organized, orchestrated, choreographed scale of outside influences like China and Iran, and also just incredible organization on the side of like liberals and progressives. Like that's one thing they did ace. They're good at cheating, and they excelled at it. So anyway, let's look at one other thing I wanted to say about this. James O'Keefe just released a bomb. This is what George Bahezi says. I like him a lot. James O'Keefe just released a bombshell claiming that 60% of ActBlue donations they investigated are coming from China. This means the Chinese Communist Party is literally funding the Democrat Party and influencing American elections. Where are the arrests? Where are the congressional hearings? I know, and you got to always ask that question. That's required because we know the answer. It's almost rhetorical. Like you don't like why even answer it. We know what it is that they're not going to do anything about it, but it's very revealing for schmoes like me and you on the ground that are just regular people, and we can actually see this being revealed because there's got to be a critical mass that's going to come where people know too much. The people are just we know a lot, but we're getting there. But more people, we just need more people to know, and it's probably more people who are left leaning that need to see this, because this is necessarily just being seeing fraud for what it is. So anyway, it says, let's see. Oh yeah, it's only illegal for the Chinese to find Republicans. Well, there would only be an investigation if there was evidence they were finding Republicans. Isn't that true? There would only be an investigation if it was Republicans doing this, or if Republicans were caught first. I have no doubt that there's some Republicans out there that are probably dipping their toes into this type of stuff too. Probably not with ActBlue for sure, because ActBlue said they don't do the Republican side, but surely there's some of that going on. In Jim Biden's emails, he lists Warren, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, Eric Swalwell, and Klobuchar, I don't know their first name, as contacts for continuation of the China deal. That's interesting. Is it a claim only or documented? Traitors are running our country. Republicans also profited, probably, but through probably a different avenue. But the Democrat Party, the difference is right now is it's the Democrat Party is the real, that's where they honed in. They found a big soft spot there. Bad actors like China, they found the bribes more easily on with Democrats. That's where the soft spot was. That's where the weak link in the chain started. And so they kind of started there with the Democrat Party, because the Democrat Party now they don't vote. They vote like China. They all vote unanimously on almost everything. And there's nothing, I've noticed that. It's kind of scary. They will vote absolutely, and I know some of them, I'm like, this can't be, because some of these people, they don't even agree with this, but they're voting 100% together on nearly everything. Now, the Republicans actually aren't, because you've got that group of like the Freedom Caucus of like Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert and those people, and they are not doing that. The Republican Party is kind of, there's a schism going on for sure. And so that's actually not true. So nothing to see here. Please disperse, of course, from Naked Gun. That's awesome. This isn't surprising. They colluded to release COVID also. They couldn't handle Trump and his trade deals. Gosh, I hope this is not true. Terrible. Again, this is back in June. So we know this now. We've seen it. But I just wanted to kind of highlight this, that we don't forget this, that they will probably be doing this time around too. I'm not saying we can do anything, within our small sphere. We can probably move a little bit. We can be aware. We can educate each other, and hopefully that awareness expands, which it is. It totally is. But hopefully, I would like to see some follow up on this. Um, and I will probably get back to that sometime. I don't know. I have to look into this more as to what happened since then. Probably not a lot, but simply that they filed a complaint with the FEC, and who knows? The Federal Election Committee, who knows? Who knows if they'll ever get back to this guy? And so, anyway, just wanted to mention that. So, thanks for watching, folks, and I will talk to you later. Bye.